Welcome to Daily Dose Radio, a 5-minute devotional podcast studying the Psalms verse by verse. Broadcast from the ever-beautiful Sharonville, Ohio, on the sunny side of Cincinnati. Hey, welcome back to Daily Dose Radio. This is your home for organic Bible study, celebrating 5 years now. 5 years of podcasting, 5 minutes a day, 5 days a week, studying the Psalms verse by verse. Let me get your picture. This will be our last photograph now. I'm so glad you came today so you can get in on the photo album. You ready? Line up there. So everybody, look over here. Here we go.
Smile. Say cheese.
All right. So glad to have your photo. And we're today looking at verses, what were we doing? 14 through 17 today. But I'm going to include verse 13 in here as well. And also, I need to go back and pick up on a theme that I missed in this psalm. And I want to share it with you before we go any further. Yesterday we were praying the Bible, and we prayed verses 11, 12, and 13. And you'll remember that statement there in 12. Innumerable evils have compassed me about. And then he goes on to talk about the hairs of his head. They're more than the hairs of my head, talking about his iniquities. So we have these uncountable things being mentioned in verse 12. And I forgot, I kind of was in the back of my head, but I missed it. There's in verse 5 the same statement, but in that case, in 5, we're talking about God's wonderful works. They are more than can be numbered, the psalmist says there in verse 5. Very last phrase in 5. So God's works, more than can be numbered, compared to my sins, the evils that afflict me, are innumerable, and my own transgressions more than the hairs of my head. So things that can't be counted, God's works, my hairs, and the innumerable evils that assault me. And all of that I take to the Lord. Now, verses 13 through 17, I'm going to read 14 through 17 today, but I'm going to start in 13 because this passage, 13 through 17, it's repeated in Psalm 70. So 13 through 17 appears again in Psalm 70. As a matter of fact, it's the totality of Psalm 70. Not exactly word for word, but almost. It's very, very close, and it's close enough to say that these two are the same. So whoever wrote 70 either borrowed from 40, or whoever wrote 40 borrowed from 70. You know, which comes first, the chicken or the egg? Well, we know the answer to that, don't we? The creationist always says it's the chicken, because God made the chickens, and then came the eggs. But which one that is here, whether it's 40 or 70, don't know. But we have it here in Psalm 40, verses 13 through 17. Be pleased, O Lord, to deliver me. O Lord, make haste to help me. Let them be ashamed and confounded together that seek after my soul to destroy it. Let them be driven backward and put to shame that wish me evil. Let them be desolate for a reward of their shame that say unto me, Aha, aha. Let all those that seek thee rejoice and be glad in thee. Let such as love thy salvation say continually, The Lord be magnified. But I am poor and needy, yet the Lord thinketh upon me. Thou art my help and my deliverer. Make no tarrying, O my God. Again, you notice the hurry up and get to it prayer. Here we have it, make no tarrying, and we have in verse 13, make haste to help me. So 13 through 17, also in Psalm 70, we have it here in 40, and you'll notice how nicely this is divided. Let them be ashamed and confounded. Let them be driven backward and put to shame. Let them be desolate for a reward. You see, and then that's verses 14 and 15. Then we have 16. Let all those that seek thee rejoice. Let such as love thy salvation say continually, The Lord be magnified. 14 and 15 are in contrast to verse 16. So in 16 we have, let those who magnify the Lord say. And then we have verse 17, which draws it all to a conclusion. But I am poor and needy, yet the Lord thinketh upon me. Did you know he's thinking upon you today? Why don't you call on him and ask him to deliver you, to be your help, your deliverer, your God. Join me again next week as we dive into Psalm 41 on Daily Dose Radio. Thanks for listening to Daily Dose Radio. I'm David Smith. The music today has been performed by the Bluegrass Experiment. Thanks again for listening. I'll see you next time on Daily Dose Radio.